Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Ambition. I'm one of your hosts, Gabrielle Remo, and thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Foresight 2020, a segment where we cover the presidential election, which now is winding down. When I'm filming this, November 5th, Election Day has come and gone, and now we wait. You may be wondering, what is taking so long? Shouldn't we know who the president is by now? Really, what now? These are all reasonable questions and reasonable concerns. It feels like the presidential seat is being dangled in front of us like a bone. So today, this episode is going to highlight the latest updates as we sit in this electoral purgatory. Without further ado, let's get into it. President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are head-to-head in one of the tightest presidential elections in decades. Today, Biden is leading with 253 electoral college votes, and Trump trails behind with 214. There's approximately a 4 million vote deficit between the two. Biden was ahead in very slim margins in states like Wisconsin, but it has been called. States like Georgia have become the center of the political universe as of now, as Trump has a 0.2% lead. As of 29 minutes ago, Georgia officials say there are 47,000 votes that still need to be counted. Trump is leading in Pennsylvania and swing states alike, but the race is just too close to call, and there are too many uncounted mail-in ballots. In general, all but the swing states stayed their anticipated color. Yuppie states like New Jersey and New York voted Democratic, and yeehaw states like Arkansas and Louisiana voted majority Republican, and the margins in some of these states have seemed to grow. Back in the presidential election of 2016, New Jersey voted 55% Democrat and 41% Republican. This year, in the results that we have so far, 60% of New Jersey voted Biden. But the marginal win for the Democrats or the Republicans in their anticipated win states wasn't a shock. There was one state, however, that turned blue for the first time in forever. Totally not a Frozen reference. The state in question is Arizona. Now, while 88% is reporting the win, the Associated Press and their experts are reporting Arizona to be a clear blue win. The first time the state has gone blue in 24 years. Most states have been called, but there is still a chance of Biden or Trump winning. It's really getting down to the nitty-gritty. Moving along, the Democrats had high hopes of gaining control of the Senate, but those dreams are fading away. They had hoped to flip the Republicans' 53-48 majority in the Senate, but most Republican incumbents held their seats. And by obtaining a Senate majority, Democrats would have been able to obstruct the agenda of a possible second Trump administration or push through the agenda of a Biden administration. However, the Democrats are projected to keep their majority in the House. Anyways, let's talk about Trump suing America. This talk of suing comes after President Trump falsely declared a win, despite millions of votes being uncounted. Now, this faces a lot of criticism, even from dudes playing on his team. Chris Christie, Mitch McConnell, and other Trump allies alike have spoken out about Trump baselessly claiming a win. Even Ben Shapiro called him out. Now, if you don't know who Ben Shapiro is, he is a very famous conservative political commentator who is quite harsh on the libs. Shapiro even tweeted, "No, Trump has not already won the election, and it is deeply irresponsible for him to say he has." Now, folks, if Ben Shapiro is saying that, and when Biden started leading in the polls, Trump immediately called voter fraud. Now, it's no secret that Trump has been a harsh critic of the mail-in ballot. and it was predicted that he would lose his mind over the election being conducted in the way that it is. So, as of yesterday, President Trump's campaign announced new lawsuits in the swing states of Pennsylvania and Michigan, whilst demanding a recount in Wisconsin. Trump spoke from the White House around 2:30 a.m. on Wednesday, stating, "This is a major fraud on our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 in the morning and add them to the list, okay?" You may or may not be thinking, am I living in a simulation? Is any of this real? Well, friends, frankly, I don't know. Because of the amount of electoral votes in both Michigan and Pennsylvania that are still up for grabs, President Trump's campaign has filed lawsuits to stop these states from counting ballots and demanded access to observe the tallying of said ballots. The campaign has argued that ballots casted in Michigan were opened and counted while they did not have meaningful access. The Trump campaign has also filed suit in Georgia, questioning the integrity of the mail-in ballots after one Republican poll observer reportedly witnessed 53 late absentee ballots that were illegally added to a stack of on-time ballots. First off, what? How do you just illegally stack onto on-time ballots right in front of a poll observer? Did said mystery man just vent right after he did it? I'm not saying imposter, but I want to call an emergency meeting with America. The administration is also filing 2 lawsuits against the state of Pennsylvania. The first one being an accusation that the Democratic officials are hiding the ballot counting and processing from Republican poll observers. And the other is attempting to stop the order extending the deadline for absentee ballots that require the voter to provide missing proof of identification. Again, this all follows Trump prematurely claiming a victory in Pennsylvania before all of the ballots, a large sum of which are mail-in ballots, were counted. The race for 270 electoral votes is coming down to a finish, and the Trump administration is trying to find any advantage they can. Biden's campaign spokesman stated that Trump's charade was especially pathetic and claimed that this is not the behavior of a winning campaign. And he's partially right, at least for the winning part. In a completely subjective way, Trump would not be claiming voter fraud had he been in a clear lead, as Biden is. As of today, Biden has a lead in 2 of the 3 key swing states, Michigan and Wisconsin, and many believe the influx of mail-in ballots will give Biden the edge in Georgia and Pennsylvania. But we just don't know. The blue tide could crash upon shore overnight, or a red tide can sweep those states after mail-in ballots are counted for and recounts have taken place. Now, friends, I want to end on a different note. Here are some of the progressive and monumental wins that have come out of the 2020 election. Many LGBTQ+ individuals have been elected as legislators, lawmakers, and Senate and congressional positions, including Cori Bush, who has become the first Black congresswoman in Missouri after defeating the long-time incumbent Congressman William Lacy Clay. Sarah McBride became the first transgender state senator in the history of the United States. The Delaware Democratic senator-elect will be the highest-ranking transgender official in the entire country. 4 states have voted for the legalization of marijuana: New Jersey, South Dakota, Montana, and Arizona. Oregon has become the first state to decriminalize small amounts of cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and other drugs. Those are the updates on the election that I can give to you from this day, Inside Ambition viewers. Tune in next week where I'll be talking about any good news that comes out of November 3rd, but more importantly, caring for yourself after an emotional election. I plan on talking about it, barring any major breaks in the political world. I'll rain check it, if not. To be completely honest with you, I for one am emotionally exhausted, and it's reasonable to be. we're voting in an extremely polarized time. So I encourage you to care for yourself, hug those around you, and focus on your mental health. Until next week, thank you for watching this week's episode of Foresight 2020. Remember to be kind in all that you do and to speak with conviction in all that you believe in. Bye now.